What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode number 8. Before we get started real quick, I just want to say thank you to you guys. The engagement on my Instagram account lately has been probably as good as it's been ever since I was shadow banned. I got shadow banned pretty bad. I guess at this point it's been almost a year, and it really kind of never recovered fully to where it was before that. Before the shadow ban, we were doing really well, picking up followers and just adding a bunch of new people. And then we got hit with that. And then it never really kind of recovered from there. That was probably about a year ago. It's crazy. But we're starting to kind of to creep back up to the numbers of where we were before. And it's cool to see. I don't know if it's because of everything that's going on. People are kind of more engaged than they were before. I don't know if people got complacent a little bit when Trump was in office. So they didn't pay too much attention to the news because they were just kind of like, oh, Trump's in office, everything will work out and be okay. Or I don't know if that's what happened, or if it's just because of the shadow ban or because of everything going on right now in the news. But anyways, regardless of what the true reason behind that being, I appreciate you guys, especially you guys listening, because you guys are on a whole nother next level up if you're listening to this above everyone else. So, thank you guys. Also, I told you guys last week that at the end of this episode today, I was going to do a questionnaire. Like, I ask questions on my Instagram, and you guys respond, and I'll respond to those here. I did remember to do that literally last night at the last minute. I remembered to put the question up. So, I got a few that I'm going to answer for you guys today. I'm not gonna do too many, but I've got a couple that I'm looking at that I want to answer. So we'll do that at the end. I've got a few things I want to talk about. But yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy. To start off, I want to talk a little bit about the Afghanistan response. I want to talk more specifically about what President Biden has said about the process and said about the whole situation, more so than how the response has gone. Because last week when I first talked about this, the whole Taliban takeover thing happened 1 week ago, on last Sunday, whatever that date was. At that time, it was kind of new. You know, we didn't really know exactly what was going on. Biden hadn't said anything at that point yet. But now it's a whole week later, and he has spoken and talked about kind of the response and what's going on. So I want to focus on what he said and some of the things. I'm going to try and be as objective as possible here with my thoughts on the main points of what he talked about. I kind of want to, I don't want this to get too long. I want to keep it moving, but I want to talk about a couple things that I liked that he said and a couple things that I disagree with him what he said. So I want to keep it as fair and balanced as possible. And there are a couple things that I like about what he said and a couple things that I don't like about what he said. So I want to talk about that, and I want to kind of explain to you guys why I either agree or disagree with the points that I bring up. So let's start off with one of the things that he talked about that I did like that he said. So before the whole Taliban takeover thing, he had said that he was going to pull troops out of Afghanistan. And I talked about this last week on the show, but I am in favor of getting our troops as much as possible out of and not involved with the Middle East. In my opinion, 20 years is way too long to be fighting overseas, halfway around the world, when the United States and our own borders have our own problems that can be and need to be fixed. Now, he had said that he was going to pull out troops, but it didn't intend to be as fast as it is now. And when he was talking after the Taliban had taken over, this was probably on Monday or Tuesday, he had said that he still stands by his decision to pull out troops from Afghanistan. And I do like that he said that. One, not only because I support that, but I also think that it's important for a leader, aka president or someone else in office, to uphold what they have said in the past and stand by what they said regardless of situations that become in the present. So basically what I mean by that is I like that he had said that he was going to pull out troops before the Taliban takeover, and he also said that he stands by his previous opinion that we should remove troops from the area. And I like that he didn't double down and say, oh, well, never mind, now we're just going to keep flooding more troops into the area because of this. And it would have been easy for him to say that because that's kind of what I guess people expect or expected. But instead, he stood by what he had said previously, that he was going to remove troops regardless of the situation. And I think in the short term, people don't agree with that, and they kind of think, well, why would he do that? But I think in the long term, especially after being there for 20 years, I think that's going to end up being the right decision. And I do like the fact that he didn't just flip his position because of circumstances that happened. And I would be saying the same thing if I didn't agree with pulling troops out of the area. If it was the other way around, I may not agree with it, but like I said, I like when leaders stand by opinions that they have made in the past when new challenges arise. You know, sometimes obviously you gotta adapt, but I think in this case, in the long term, it was still the right decision for the United States, which ultimately is what matters. First and foremost, should be America first, right? That's kind of what conservative people on Instagram and social media, they push this America first value, but sometimes they don't live up to what America first really should mean. And I could go more into that, and I could call out names and stuff, but I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not here to talk about other people, really, unless I have a guest on the show, which, by the way, I do want to do at some point. Have multiple people on. I have a few names in my head that I would like to talk to, that some of them are friends of mine that I've just kind of met over the years, and some of them are other people that I haven't really talked to. But anyways, that's irrelevant. But like I was saying, I support that he didn't completely flip his opinion around in this circumstance. Now, I want to bring up something that I don't agree with what he said. And this is something I talked about last week as well, and I knew it was going to happen. I should have said it on the show so that you guys knew, because he literally said it. I think his press conference about the situation was on Monday last week, which was when the show came out. But obviously I didn't record it on that Monday, so I didn't get to hear him or get the summary of what he had said before I recorded last week's show. And last week I talked about taking responsibility for your actions. And one of the things that Biden said, or maybe alluded to, was that he was blaming the issue going on over there on Donald Trump, which that irritated me, because I had literally just got done talking on the show last week about how politicians and people in like high positions, whether it be in government or even in business, they don't take responsibility for when they're in the wrong or when they should have taken responsibility for something. And this is one of those instances where he blamed issues that were a direct result of his speech and policy on someone else. So it sounds like I'm contradicting myself here, but I'm really not, because it sounds like, well, I think he should have kept troops there, but really, I don't think he should have. What I really want is for him to take responsibility for what happened in Afghanistan because of what he said about pulling troops out. Because ultimately that's the reason that this happened, or at least definitely one of the big reasons why this happened, is because he talked about pulling troops out. And like I said, I agree with that. What I don't agree with is that when he said that, in result, what happened in Afghanistan happened, and now he blamed that on someone else, that someone else being Donald Trump. I do not agree with that, and will never. That really irritated me, especially because I literally just got done talking about it, and kind of when I heard that he had said that, I just kind of thought to myself, of course he did. I literally just got done talking about this yesterday on the show, and then it happened. So, I should have said something. I should have said, like, I bet you when Joe Biden talks about it, he's gonna say this was someone else's fault. And, when Biden or Pelosi or Schumer or somebody like that, when they talk, you can narrow down a list of about, 3-4 people that they're likely to blame something on, and Donald Trump's probably at the top. So, that was an easy one to point out, but I don't agree with him blaming issues that are a direct result of his policy on other people. What he should have done is taken responsibility for, or at least in some part, for what happened because of what he said about taking troops out. And he should have been like, this is how we're going to go about handling the situation in the future. And if he would have done that, I really wouldn't have had an issue with what he said, because like I said, I support less United States intervention in that area, because it's been way too long, too many lives lost. I just feel like for the United States, for our military and for our civilians, it's not worth everything that we have gone through the past 20 years over there. So if he would have taken responsibility for what happened because of what he said, and at the same time also say that he stands by his support of pulling troops out, I really wouldn't have had a big issue with what he said in his kind of follow-up after the takeover. I really wouldn't have had too big of an issue. But when he starts blaming it on other people, that's when it starts to become an issue. And it's like, oh, here we go again. Are we going to get someone that will actually take responsibility for what they say? And it looks like, for the time being, that answer is no. Now the response, here's the thing about the response as well that I kind of want to talk about real quick, and then we'll move on to something else. I do understand that evacuation of thousands of people in a short amount of time in the situation that we're in over there is, what's the right word here? Problematic. Difficult, not easy. I understand that it's, I think problematic is a good word. It's not easy to evacuate thousands of people from a war zone in a very short amount of time. Basically, you got to get it done as quickly as possible. There is no good timetable for something like this. There really isn't. So I understand that this is not an easy issue to resolve. And I think people can understand that. And if they don't, well, then I don't know what to tell you, because it's not easy to evacuate thousands and thousands of people from a war zone in as quickly as possible. It's just not. So if people don't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. That's not. It's not realistic for everything to be fine in a day. Let's just put it that way. Now, here's the problem. There have been reports that United States military are evacuating Afghan citizens before all the United States citizens are evacuated from the area. Now, my opinion is we need to make sure that all United States citizens in the area are evacuated. That's the primary concern here. Is we got to make sure that all of them are evacuated, because the Taliban will not be so friendly to American citizens in, basically, it's their capital. It's, people don't want to hear it, but that's the way it is right now. They will not be so sympathetic toward American, especially women in the area. I don't know the demographics of who's all there. I know they're embassy people, but you guys don't need a lesson on their opinions on Americans, and especially women. So we need to make sure that all United States citizens are evacuated as quickly as possible, period. And like I said, I understand it might take some time because there's a lot of people there. At least a lot of people to get evacuated. Now, what the issue is apparently Afghan and other citizens of other countries are being evacuated before United States citizens by United States military. Now, I understand there are people there that want to escape Taliban rule, and it's a tough situation because those people deserve to be, I guess, liberated. But at the end of the day, our military needs to be focusing on the evacuation of our citizens. It's really as simple as that. It's hard to know exactly what's going on, but there are still United States citizens in the capital right now awaiting evacuation, and that needs to be the priority. I don't know why that isn't being stressed more. It's one thing to say it, but at the same time, you gotta actually do it. So I guess we'll see what happens. I saw in an article I was reading that the deadline to get everybody out is supposed to be August the 31st, which is, I believe that's next Tuesday, in a week. A lot can happen in a week, so I guess we'll see what happens, but I wouldn't be surprised if that date has to get extended. And it might. But ultimately, there's nothing that us as citizens of the United States can do about how quickly and efficiently and all that goes over there. So we'll just have to stay informed and, I guess, continue to watch what the president says, because it does matter, and everyone in the world is watching and listening to what he says. So, like I said before, that's a big part of the reason why this happened in the first place. But yeah, I don't want to talk about this for I've already been doing it for 20 minutes. There's only so much I can say about what's going on over there. It's kind of the same thing every day. But next week I'm sure we'll have some updates on what's going on and what the count is of how many people have been evacuated, and we'll see if President Biden starts talking about, in his opinion, what the next steps for the area should be. It'll be interesting to see what he says. See if he doubles back on what he said about standing up for what he said before. We'll see if he ends up changing his mind. I don't know. It's hard to say. But I want to move on just real quick. So I believe I didn't even know about this until like today. So I must be behind and not been paying attention or anything. But Tropical Storm Henry is making landfall in the northwest, or not northwest, northeast, like Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, that area up there, New England. I'm not from that area, so I guess that's part of the reason why I didn't know about it. Literally where I live, it's sunny and very few clouds, so like I wouldn't know that there was a tropical storm going on. So I didn't know about that today, until today. But if you live in that area, I know it's being hit pretty hard. Power outages, flooding, stuff like that. If you live in that area, stay safe. This is not the first time that a tropical storm or hurricane has made landfall up there, I guess. So yeah, you guys, I'm assuming, know what to do if you live in that area. So just stay safe and take care. So last week, just a little update on what's been going on. I told you guys that I had kind of gotten under the weather, been a little bit sick. It's still kind of lingering around. I think my voice sounds a little bit better. I really haven't, it has not gotten any worse from last week. Now, one of the things that I didn't notice that really wasn't apparent last week when I recorded this is sometime during this week, it was probably Monday or Tuesday. It's probably Monday. I completely lost my sense of smell and taste, and it still hasn't came back. So, and I know that that's one of the symptoms of COVID, because I've had friends that have had it, and they talk about losing your taste and smell. And so, I said last week I hope I have it. I still haven't gotten tested for it because I just don't think it's necessary still. I haven't gotten any worse in terms of symptoms and stuff. So I haven't gotten tested, but I think the lack of taste and smell has kind of almost confirmed that I do have it. So, it is what it is. I'll get over it. It's almost been this week, this Thursday coming up this week, will be 2 weeks since I really started noticing anything. So, we're getting better. I'm not really coughing or having any issues like that. It's really I was kind of having muscle aches a little. I don't know if I'd call that. I'd call it maybe fatigue, muscle fatigue a little bit, last week, especially when it first started, last weekend and stuff. But this week I really haven't had any of that. So, the symptoms seem to be getting better, but I did notice that I lost my sense of smell and taste, and that has not returned. Not today. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. It's not even, I can still literally do everything I would want to do or need to do. So it's it's not really that big of a deal. But I do believe that I do have the COVID. So, everybody online, well, not everybody, but, people online will be like, well, if you're not vaccinated and you don't have, or if you're not vaccinated and you have COVID, automatic death. Well, unfortunately for them, I don't think that's going to happen to me. But, now, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. It's just been the same thing since last week, I feel like. What else has been going on? I mean, NFL preseason started, people have their opinions on the NFL, whatever. I like watching sports for sports. I've already talked about that. I try and stay away from politics as much as I can in sports, because, I don't want to watch politics when I'm watching sports, so, I just want to watch football. But, I mean, nobody really cares about the preseason, because it's not the actual game. I mean, people, watch it and stuff. But, it doesn't matter because it's the preseason. But that started up, which I guess is, the indication that football season's right around the corner. College is starting soon. I like watching NFL. My team's not too good, but I'm a Falcons fan. I know people are gonna give me crap for the 28-3 thing, and I've heard it all, but I don't even want to talk about that because I remember where I was watching the game, that 28-3. I thought we had it, man. I really did, but it's hard to argue with Tom Brady being the greatest of all time. But anyways, yeah, I'm a Falcons fan and we're not good, so I don't know. Maybe Kyle Pitts is exciting, I guess. I watched him in college at Florida because, I live and have always lived in SEC country, and he went to University of Florida, so I watch a lot of the SEC games, and I've seen him play a lot, so he's good. So I don't know. The NFL is a whole different ball game, though, so we'll see how he does. I guess it's exciting that we got a pretty high draft pick and somebody with a lot of potential, but other than that, the team's not, we're not going to win anything. I would be very, very, very shocked if we even make the playoffs this year, but even if my team's not very good, I still, end up watching some of the games and stuff because, why not? What else are you going to do on Sunday, Sunday afternoon? But yeah, I think that's about it. I do want to go over some of the questions that you guys asked me real quick. This episode's already, getting almost a 30-minute mark. I want to try and keep this between 30 and 45 minutes every time if possible. So, I'll answer a few questions and try and keep my responses as short and simple and to the point as I can. So, let's get started with that. So, question number 1 by Ojadaville. Probably pronounced that wrong. Sorry. But they ask, how can you wake up people that believe that masks work? So here's the thing about the masks. Really, the only ones that actually truly work, and there's nothing really that works 100% of the time. So the ones that are most effective, basically, what I'm trying to say, are the K95 or KN95. The KN95 sounds like a gun from Call of Duty, but I think it's the K95. You guys know which one I'm talking about. They're like the industrial ones. Those are the ones that work most effectively. I've seen some here and there, but obviously most people wear the paper ones or the cloth ones with the designs on them. Very, very few people actually wear the K95 ones that are most effective. But the masks to an extent do work by filtering out some of I guess particles that would be spit out. Now obviously they're not going to be 100% effective, so you could wear a mask and you could wear a mask and still get COVID, basically, is what I'm trying to say. It's not foolproof. Now, I don't support mandates for a virus with 99.9799 whatever percent survival percentage. That's the entire population. Again, that's not just people that have no pre-existing conditions. That's everybody. That includes people with pre-existing conditions. And that number is pretty much basically the same as the seasonal flu every year, and we don't have to wear masks, so I don't understand why it would be any different than that. And here's the thing. If you want to wear a mask, you can. If you want to go to the store and wear a mask, no one's stopping you from doing that. It's optional. That's the great thing about the United States, is that it's optional. You can choose and decide what you want to do because, not everybody wants to wear a mask everywhere. And if you don't want to wear a mask for a virus that you have a 99.9799 whatever the number is percent chance of survival, then you shouldn't have to. If there was a virus that had a 50% mortality rate, it's okay, well, maybe we should. But, at this point we've seen, and we have numbers more than we did before, that support that statistically speaking this COVID virus is not very fatal. I don't think it warrants mandatory masks for basically the end of eternity is what they're saying. So to answer your question, how do we get people not to believe that masks work, or however it was worded, you're not going to change people's minds on it, because like they're going to listen to who they want to listen to, and that is what it is. It's just my issue is when they try and like force you to, or make you seem like you're a bad person because you don't want to wear a mask, and it's like that's not the case. That's when it gets kind of irritating. But again, if someone wants to wear a mask at the store, like, that's on them. That's their, they can do whatever they want. I don't really care. Just don't get up in my face, and just, which doesn't make sense, because you would think because they have the mask on, they wouldn't want to get up in your face, but, they do, because you're not wearing a mask in the store. You guys know what I'm talking about. I think it's just obnoxious, and they want to believe what they want to believe, and you're not going to be able to change people's opinion on that. So, at the end of the day, like, if they're not mandatory, what's the word? Requiring it, I guess. Which, I think in some states it's required, like when you go indoors and stuff. I don't know, like, specifically the number of states that do that, but, like, I think New York and, like, California and, let's see, what else? Other states, I can't think of any that I know of specifically that do it, but I know there are states out there that, like, require you wear a mask indoors still. But, like, if you don't live in a state like that, at the end of the day, you're not going to change these people's minds, because they will believe what they want to believe. So, just live your life. If you don't have to wear a mask and you don't want to, just don't do it, and just ignore people that try and make you feel bad for it, because, like, chances are they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So alright, second question that I'm going to do. Jay Evans asks, how long are Americans going to allow communists to run havoc without fighting back? So this is an interesting question. I want to ask you guys what you guys think should be done, because I know a lot of people, in my comments and stuff on Instagram, and just like on their own pages, will talk about, like, oh, it's time for the Civil War, and I don't think we're at that point yet, but a lot of people seem to be in favor of having a Civil War. I don't think we're at that breaking point yet. We're getting there, but I feel like, in my opinion at least, a lot more has to happen, and a lot has to really just continue to go downhill for us to be at a point of Civil War. So I'm interested to see, if you guys are on YouTube especially, comment below what you think Americans should do in terms of handling the leftist outrage. And I think what we really need to do is start putting our foot down and letting them know that we're not going to allow them to just continue to force whatever they want into the culture and into government. I think before we get to a civil war, it starts with getting people on our side into office who are willing to put their foot down and fight for what they believe, instead of letting people to the left push them around and continue to get their agenda and their ways of life across when it's stripping away what we have. So basically, we need to get people in office that push back, actually push back, not just say they're going to push back and don't really do anything when they get there, and they continue to get voted in, and it's the same thing every time, even though they say it's going to be different and nothing changes. We need people in office that will actually put their foot down and do something about it, because there's a couple there, but we don't have nearly enough to really make anything happen right now, and that's why everything keeps continuing getting pushed to the left, and the left keeps winning. They're winning. And even when Trump was the president, culture-wise, they are definitely winning. And they're still pushing everything to the left. And until we get a group of people in office and just in general that are willing to actually put their foot down and say, no, this is not okay, then we're just going to keep losing. Like, that's the way it is. We're just going to keep losing. So I think that's the first step. And obviously the first step doesn't happen overnight. That doesn't happen overnight. But I think at least in the time being, the Civil War is kind of off the table. We'll see what happens, but I just think I don't really think it's worth it to just get jumped into a civil war over what's going on at the moment. But like I said before I started talking about this question, I want you guys to know, or I want you guys to tell me what you think we should do in response to Jay Evans' question. Alright, so third and final question I'm going to do. This has been getting kind of long, so I told you guys I want to keep it, relatively short. But third and final question, there are a lot of good ones, but I just want to answer this one real quick to wrap it up. Carmi Draws official. I don't know if I said that right. Carmi? Yeah, something like that. She asks, when did I start this account, and why did I start it, and who inspired me to do it? So when she talks about account, if you don't know, she's talking about my Instagram account. I started it in April of 2017, so it's been almost 4.5 years. That's crazy, because I still remember when I started it. It's been 4.5 years, April 2017. Why did I start it? I don't know. At the time I was interested in politics. I followed other people on Instagram, like Typical Liberal and DC Drano. I'm sure you guys know who they are. They're still on Instagram. I remember following them back then, and I kind of watched their posts and stuff. Who else? Two Savage for Democrats. I think he sold his account, but I remember him as well. I followed him, and there were some others, but ever since I've started politics on Instagram, there's been a lot of other people that have gotten involved that were not here when I first got started. So there's a lot of Instagram accounts and pages and stuff now that post about right-wing politics that more than half of the accounts were not there when I first started. I could pretty much tell you guys that for a fact, because I remember it was not this many people that were around when I first got into it. So, I guess it was them who inspired me to do it. I never, specifically remember being oh, I want to be like this person, or, be like this person, just trying to be myself and just, I don't know. I was just kind of why not? Why not do it? I like politics. I like, talking about the news and stuff, and I don't know, I was just kind of whatever, why not, we'll see what happens, I got nothing to lose, so, why not get into it? And I just kind of kept up with it. It eventually became a habit to post and do all this stuff and look into it, and, eventually it becomes a habit and you just don't stop. So I've just kept doing it, and eventually, we hit all these different milestones, 10K, 50K, 100K, that was a big one. We're still moving. We're coming back from the shadow ban, but we've been doing well. Like I said at the beginning, we've been getting back up to kind of where we were before that. But yeah, that's about it. There isn't any crazy story to go along with it. I just was at home, and I remember looking at a couple other people's pages and being why not? Why can't I do it, So, April of 2017, 4.5 years, and, I don't really have any intention on quitting, so, yeah. I think that's about it. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Hope you guys have a great week. Enjoy the rest of, I guess at this point it'll be up on a Monday, so you'll already be at work, but, when I'm recording this, it's Sunday night, so hopefully you guys enjoy your Sunday night. Have a great week. I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. We'll see what happens with the whole Afghanistan situation, but for the time being, like, just keep living life, enjoying life, and yeah, that's all I got. So talk to you guys next week. Thank you guys for listening so much. Peace out.